So I should thank all the panel members for their thoughts. As far as asset allocation is concerned, and more so when we talk about a group of people, two or three things, like I said in my speech as well. One, first of all, you should be very clear that what are the different objectives that you would like to achieve. So typically when I say objectives, what I mean is in the rest of your life, wherever you are at, whatever life stage you are, from there on till further, what all are the objectives or goals that you would like to reach. Like for example, one of your goals might be, like I said, to sponsor somebody's wedding in the family, to sponsor somebody for education abroad. You would be either retired or looking to retire in the near future. So how much money would you need after your retirement? So these kind of objectives need to be very clear. Secondly, so one is what are the objectives? That would give you clarity on why you are investing whatever you are investing. Once you are clear why you are investing, then you would know what is the amount of safety you need from it, how much risk you can take on that money, and what kind of return would be the ideal return that you need to target. See, a lot of times what happens is, we may say that, okay, I can save 10,000 rupees every month. My goal is to reach 5 lakh rupees in the next 5 years, but my ability is to save only 10,000 rupees per month. So if 10,000 rupees per month has to cross 5 lakh rupees of a kitty in 5 years, roughly speaking, what kind of rate of return do I want? If the answer is a reasonable number like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, then one may think that yes, this is achievable. But if the answer you are getting is some number like, okay, it needs to grow at 20% or 25%, then obviously that kind of number is not possible, which means that either your expectation of the kitty is too high or the amount you are putting every month is too low. So it's very important to understand why you are investing, hence where you should be investing, what safety, risk and return parameters can be expected or can be budgeted for. Based on all these things, you can decide how much money to put in deposits, how much money to put in bonds, how much money to put in the stock markets. These kind of things can be decided based on that. If you have decided that your goal is 5 or 7 years away and you can take some risk and you would like to have a return of 15% or 18%, then the answer is to put money into equity mutual funds. If you have decided that my goal is somewhere in the next 1 or 2 years, I cannot take any risk and I have to contend with a 7 or 8 or 9% return, then the answer is that yes, fine, you can put money in bank deposits or bonds. So some amount of these calculations are very important. I can see that there are some people or some number of people here who are either retired or who are probably looking to retire at some point in time. One of the most common misconceptions that people who are close to retirement or who are retired, one of the biggest or most common misconceptions is that when it has got anything to do with retirement, equity investment is a strict no-no and people who are retired or looking to retire should not invest in equity markets. Let me tell you one thing, whether you are retiring or already retired, in life you have to plan to live to 100. You cannot plan to live to 70, 75, 80, 85. Because the fact is that you have to plan. Like I said, for any investment you make, some amount of basic positivity or optimism is needed that the world will survive and I will survive. So you need to plan to live 100. And if you are 70 now and you are going to plan to live to a 95 or 100, then that's another 20 or 30 years away. And if you're going to put all your money into the saving account or the post office or the bank because you think I have retired, so what about the next 20 years? So even if you have retired, some amount of money which has the potential to grow is very important. So I have given you some amount of science and some amount of guidelines. A lot of textbooks say that depending on what your age is, that much money should be in bonds. I don't believe those textbooks necessarily. I think you need to sit down with an advisor. You need to jot down, I am repeating the third time, but please jot down what are the goals you need to achieve. Each of those goals, how much money you need, how far away are those goals, how much can you put aside for each of those goals, what return is expected to reach those goals, How much risk can you take? Can you take any risk? Can you not tolerate risk? All these things, and it's not about thinking in your head. Please ensure that you are writing all these things on a piece of paper and you're tracking these things. It's extremely important. It's very important to put pen to paper. It's very important to consult somebody when you are in doubt. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ashish. As a matter of fact, you know, the time is 1:30 already, and I think I'll take just 2 minutes of your time and close the session thereafter. It's a story that I tell you. We have a maid at home. She is hardly 21, 22, and about a month ago, she has given the impression to my wife that she wants to buy some gold ornament. So I called her at dinner time and asked her, what do you want to buy the gold for? So she says, no. I have to keep the money somewhere. And she has it all in cash, about 10,000 rupees. So she doesn't feel safe, so she wants to keep. I said, tomorrow I'll take you to the bank and open a bank account. Well, no. I want to buy some gold. So I said, why did you ask her to buy it? He says, no, I don't know what is real gold. That is why I want you to help. So I thought the best method may be that I take the money away from her, lock it up in a drawer, and try and convince her that buying gold is not the best thing. Now I've been doing this for about a month now. The money is in my drawer, but she refuses to change her mind. So any ideas on that?